anyone else surprised when Chris Paul started over Stephon Castle last night? What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. De'Aaron Fox made his debut last night and looked pretty darn good, didn't he? That being said, in looking at the chat last night, it seemed like the community was pretty split on who should start, Stephon Castle or Chris Paul. And I'm very curious to see where you stand and why. Of course, I'll give my thoughts in just a few moments, but I thought we'd take a look at the positives and the negatives of CP3 starting over Stephon Castle and vice versa. First off, Chris Paul is a vet. Definitely more of a leadership when he's on the floor at, of course, their respective points in their career. He is a better shooter than Stephon Castle. CP3 is not exactly killing it from the field this year, but he is shooting splits. He has shooting splits of 42, 37, and 96. Chris Paul has a chance to have the greatest free throw percentage of all time in a single season. That is incredible. He was shooting around 98% at one point, but he's dropped all the way down to 96. Chris Paul, per minute, has less turnovers and is going to make less mistakes than a rookie. And the Spurs have kept what seems to be a promise. I don't know if it's actually a handshake promise or what it was. We don't know the full details, but it appears when Chris Paul came here that he was told by the Spurs that he would start, and the Spurs are keeping their word. So that is a positive. As far as the negatives, we are already a very small starting lineup as it is. CP3 is 6 feet tall. Stephon Castle is 6'6", and contrary to popular belief, 6 inches is a lot. And then also there's the stunting of Stephon Castle's growth. He is such a different player from bench to starter. This is his bench, right, or his bench performance. 18 games, about 19 minutes a game, 7.4 points, 2.8 assists, and those shooting splits, they're bad. 37, 15, and 64. Those stats right there, my friends, that's not a rookie of the year at all. However, when Stephon Castle's in the starting lineup, it's a little bit different. He goes from Clark Kent to Superman. Maybe not Superman, but in 29 games, he's averaging close to 30 minutes a game, 15 points a game, a little over 4 assists, and his shooting splits jump up substantially from 42, 31, 75. Granted, these aren't terrific shooting splits per se, but he is a 20-year-old rookie, and those numbers are a heck of a lot better than his bench numbers. And then also, I gotta put this out there, Miss TSR is sad because she's a UConn fan. I know, you don't care, but she does, and I do. So let's get back to, let's circle back. I mentioned, 4 positives and just a few negatives. So it does seem like the positives outweigh the negatives, and they do short term. But what are we doing, Spurs fans? We are not a championship team right now, are we? Does anybody expect us to win a title this year? I would love it if we do. Probably not going to happen. So now we got to look at the long-term goal for this franchise. What is the expected starting lineup of the future? Is it Wemby, Sohan, Vassell, Castle, and Fox? Yes, there are a lot of question marks right now surrounding Dan Vassell, though I thought he actually played decent last night. His three-point shot is got again, but otherwise I thought he was okay. And for lots of you, there are a lot of question marks on Jeremy Sohan. But if you're a future backcourt Spurs organization, Brian Wright, Pop, if the backcourt is planned to be Stephon Castle and De'Aaron Fox, with both of them kind of playing combo guards, splitting, point guard duties and playing off the ball as well. If that's your future backcourt, why are we delaying it? Yeah, I know we told CP3 he would start at the start of the season, but you know what? De'Aaron Fox was not a Spur at the start of the season. Things change. You got to change with the times, and I like Chris Paul. This is not a video throwing shade at him, but if we're planning for the future, then start now. Don't delay things. We've delayed things in the past. We kind of held on to the DeMar DeRozan thing just a little too long. Remember the Kawhi rebuild? We can win. No, we can't. So that rebuild should have started earlier. Granted, it worked out because we got Wemby, so we got a little lucky there. But why not do this now? And not only that, but our bench sometimes looks absolutely lost. Could we not use some veteran leadership on the bench? Hello, veteran leadership right above my head, right there. So I think I have a feeling, I'm hooked on a feeling that Chris Paul and De'Aaron Fox are going to be the starters for the rest of the season. I don't agree with it. I understand, but we got to think more long-term. And you guys always say that to me too sometimes in the comments. TSR, you got to think long-term. Trust the process. You know, you're thinking here and now. Well, I think the Spurs are thinking here and now by starting Chris Paul and not keeping Castle in the starting lineup. Plus, we're way too freaking small. We're so freaking small. And I know the spacing is going to be bad if they eventually... I mean, what if they take Barnes out of the lineup too and put Sohan back in the starting lineup? Our floor spacing may be a nightmare as we have multiple guys that can't shoot the three very well. But growing pains. We're not a championship team. We could still be a lottery team. The Warriors just, for them, hopefully got better. They just spent a ton of money and gave up a lot of players for Jimmy Butler. So if the Warriors get better, another team... It's a stacked Western Conference. Portland, who had been playing bad right behind us, 9-1 in the last 10, unless they lost last night. They're playing great basketball now. I think we're going to be fringe somewhere. I'd like to say we jump up, to the 8th or 9th spot. But we got to have so many more wins than losses to do so. And we barely beat an Atlanta Hawks team yesterday that was missing a ton of players. Jalen Johnson, Clint Capella, Bogdanovich, and I think like one other two guys. And Atlanta almost won that game. If you didn't see the game, the Spurs were up by 1 at the end. But prior to that, the Atlanta Hawks challenged a foul and won. I mean, it was a clear foul. When he goes to the line, makes the first free throw. We intentionally missed the second one. However, with the Hawks challenging that, they lost their last timeout. So in this case now, Wemby has to make the second free throw. You call timeout, you move the ball up half court, and Trae Young's taking the final shot. And he has been clutch this year. His shooting percentage is not great overall, his efficiency, but when the game's on the line, Spurs fans, you want Ice Trae taking the shot for the win? I don't. He had to take a past half court 3 last night, which he missed. It wasn't even close. If they take it anywhere near the arc, maybe he makes it. So, yes, De'Aaron Fox's first game, there's still a lot of issues with this team. Keldon Johnson has disappeared again. We have no bigs. There's a lot of things this team needs before it's championship caliber. So let's start developing now. Get Castle ready to be the dude next year, and let's make the playoffs next year. Sound good? We'll get a top 3 lottery pick at the end of this season and finish our roster. I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you think this is all nonsense? TSR, you're just trying to start, get everybody amped up. CP3 is clearly a starter. You're being loyal to your girlfriend who's a big UConn fan, wanting Stephon Castle to start. Or do you agree? Should Steph start? Is that for the betterment of the franchise to have Castle in now? Do you think Barnes should still keep starting too? Do you think Sohan should ever come back in the lineup? Are we going to do anything today by 4 or 5 p.m. and get a big? Well, let me close with this. First off, City Sissoko got traded again. I know I'm rambling a little, but I love talking Spurs with you guys. Sissoko, poor guy's going to the Wizards. The negative is the Wizards suck, but the positive is the Wizards suck. So maybe he'll get some playing time. And then the Kings got Valanciunas for 2 second-rounders in Sissoko? We need a backup big. He's making like $10 million a year. We have the cap space for it. I know you guys have said his defense kind of sucks, but we're playing center Sohan. We're playing Jeremy Sohan at center as a backup. That ain't cutting it either. So there we go. Drop a comment on everything I just went over. Hit the thumbs up, like, support the channel, and subscribe to become part of our awesome Spurs community. Thank you, and as always, go Spurs go.
Go Spurs go.